think there's too much bass.
I still haven't got around to fixing that.
Yeah, you still haven't got around to recording.
The problem is I learned how to do the mastering and mixing, and then I haven't done it since, and I forget all that stuff. So I don't want to go through the tutorial again. And yeah.
Hey.
Sorry about that bass, guys.
Hey, welcome to Joint Operations. This is episode 11. I am your main host, Brady J. Sadler.
I am your primary host, Adam Sadler.
Sounds like I say Bray J. Sadler. Brady J. Sadler. I can't even say my own name.
Sausage pizza.
You know, I read something about people who stutter. Because I don't stutter. I just have like those fumbling over words. But if you stutter, I think like your own name is the thing that you stutter the most on, which is kind of funny.
We have an ongoing joke about how our dad used to order pizza. He would always say, "I want a large, half pepperoni, half sausage pizza." Like he would brace for it because he knew he would stutter. Right?
It's like everything else leading up to it was like fine. It's like I want a large sausage.
Like just had to prep for that. I know I'm going to stutter through sausage. But.
Anyway, we are back. I think this is turning into a biweekly podcast, but you know we're not very.
It's a sporadic podcast.
I think the minute we have either I was going to say like 100 subscribers, but even have 100, I feel like that's not as like rigid or formal. I think if we ever have like 1,000 subscribers, we'll probably have to like think of a schedule.
How many subscribers do we have?
Like 60. Well, I guess I can't check on all the different platforms, but like I think we had like 40 or 60 or something. But I don't know if it's downloads or I'll check on that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You guys don't care.
Apple Podcast is all that matters, right?
That's the one I use. I mean, that's the one that's most popular if you look at the stats. So, cheers to Apple. I love my Apple News Plus and my Apple Fitness Plus.
Why are you eating an apple right now?
This is you're being facetious because this is a coffee. You're just saying apples. I have apples upstairs and they're mealy. Hey, let's talk about more important things. This is the intro where I talk about really interesting things, and you chime in with things that aren't that interesting, right? So I'll start off.
You didn't give me notes for that one. I'm not prepared.
I'll start off. This is December. We're coming up on the second week of December, right? Yeah. So this comes out like in December. What is it? Math. 8, 9, 10, 10th. Yeah. If we stick to Tuesdays, but today is a huge day because it's the 7th right now, and we'll talk about this in more detail in the next segment with our kill team stuff. But Brutal and Cunning finally went up on pre-order, so I got to actually purchase some Rattlings. And not only that, 2 days ago I got my holiday model, the little Rattling provisionally prepared sniper model, which is amazing. Like I'm painting it right now, and I'm ruining it because my painting sucks. But what a cool model! So
wasn't your first World of Warcraft character named Brootle, RRDLE?
Yeah. No, it was an accident because I was naming some. I was like thinking of the word noodle because like I was thinking of a silly name because gnomes are silly, but I named it Brootle, and I didn't even think. I was thinking more like brood, like you brood on. I'm brooding on something. I didn't think about like it sound like brutal, but it was a great little.
I don't know if that was your first one or not. I just remember a gnome rogue.
He was my first warrior. He was my first warrior character.
Oh, it's a warrior. Yeah. Oh, that doesn't count then.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, December's pretty exciting so far, and it's also to top off that, however you say that. I decided starting December 1st that I'd repeat the insanity that I did in May, which was writing. Back in May, I wrote like 3,500 words a day to finish the first Relic book within 30 days. This is kind of different because I'm going into December and I had like maybe 10,000 words kind of roughly drafted for the next Relic book. But I decided like I want to have this done before the end of the year because I have to like editing. I got to do like, you know, the cover. I got to hire a publicist, all this stuff. So I wanted to have the draft just off my plate and ready to finalize for the next year. So starting December 1st, I was writing 3,000 words a day. And I'm up to currently 30,000 words. So I'm like roughly a third of the way done. I don't know the final length, obviously, but I'm going to aim to have it done by end of December. So that's been keeping me busy and exciting. And I've also been, I can't talk about too many of the details, but I've actually been freelancing for a game company doing art descriptions. And I've churned through like 75 art descriptions in like a few days. Love it. I can't wait to talk about it openly because I'm not sure what I can say and what I can't say about the game, but it's supposed to be like kind of releasing Q1 of 2025. So stay tuned.
God, we're almost at 2025. That's crazy.
Yeah. I can't wait to be at 2029 or whatever it is, like 4 years later. Yeah. Whatever that is. Yeah. So that's kind of
my 401k will kick in by then. So.
That's my update. I know you got a job, and you've been. I've got all the things you do. go into our segments, right? My stuff doesn't fit in segments.
Well, sort of. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's that interesting, but like I've basically been spending the last 2 weeks prepping for this job because I start. By the time this comes out, I've already started. I start on Monday, but
How'd it go?
It was an interesting job. It was good. It was a little overwhelming, lots of stuff to learn, but it's like an interesting job because it's software developer job, software engineer job, but it's using React Native, which I have never used. I didn't use before. Like I've been doing just iOS development for the last 3 years or whatever. So I get a lot of stuff to learn. So I've been learning. I did some tutorial stuff on Udemy. Learned some TypeScript. Learned some React Native stuff. I coded up a few, sample apps like Guess My Number games and to-do list tracking, just basic apps just to learn, how React Native works and stuff. So doing that, kind of getting a head start on the learning for work. So that's how I've been spending most of my last couple weeks on top of, just playing games and stuff like normal.
I can see the appeal of, because I mean, like, we know people, Justin Mitchell, for example, and like you go through a lot of these Udemy courses. I've only done a few. I get the appeal, but I feel like I'm not good at learning that way. I don't know what it is. It's just like,
well, it's the thing is, if you're going there just to watch videos, it's not really good learning. It's usually only good if you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like these are tutorials like walk you through how to code an app, so you can watch a guy code an app and you can get an idea how it works. But unless you're doing it with them, like as you're doing it, that's where you're actually like the knowledge is soaking in because you're actually doing it. You can easily see somebody write some code, but until you write that code and get it to work, it doesn't really connect as well until you start doing it.
So that's kind of the everyday Joe thing's been going on. I feel like I'm still quiet. Well, not really. It's jumping back and forth. I'm like checking the levels here because I always sound quiet in the episodes, and I think it's because I'm always turning away from my mic or whatever. But anyway, I think now we are going to discuss something that's probably going to take up the whole episode because we both watched videos on this just before hopping on here because it's like 2 in-the-afternoon and we just pre-ordered Brootle and Cunning for Kill Team.
You did. I did not.
Well, I ordered. The focus.
I'm almost just as excited though because I got to order my Exaction Squad cards and the Vulcus Kill
How many
Zone.
card packs did you get? Just the one?
Just one. Now I have cards for all of my 3 kill teams that I've had painted up.
I don't have them painted, but how do I have so many more kill teams than you?
Because I found the ones I liked and I stuck with them. I mean, there's not that many that like appeal to me. I was kind of tempted to get the novitiates, but I don't want to play a bunch of women. Not sex or anything like that. I just like the whole battle nun thing. I don't find as cool.
That's different than playing women. It's like a what do you call it?
I guess
not a stereotype, but like a.
I guess I'm a little bitter because I like warrior priests and stuff like that, but like I am probably sexist because I only want to. I'm more drawn to play male characters in games stuff like that.
I think that's not like a sexist thing. That's the reason to push for diversity so people can have the things they want to play as.
I just don't want to play a bunch of nuns really. So, but I do think the theme of the army is really cool. I'm always drawn. Anybody who knows me knows I'm drawn to religious stuff in games. I always play clerics and warrior priests and paladins and stuff. That's my thing. So
we've only played probably total maybe a dozen games of Kill Team. Not just this edition. I mean like total, maybe a little more.
I mean, I think we played like a dozen of this edition. Probably.
I probably have. Yeah. Now I think about it,
because we played through all the PvE stuff. We played a few just test games, and then we tried out a couple games of each faction that we played in.
I'm just thinking of all these different like miniatures games we've played because I've had to buy decks because I want to buy decks for all of the old teams I have models for because I've only bought like 2 boxes of teams for this edition.
Your chair is squeaking real bad, I think.
Is it?
Just so you know.
I didn't hear anything.
You don't hear that?
I hear that now. You know what? While
every time you move, it's like creak, 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 creak.
I'm gonna change chair because my stool is more comfortable and it doesn't squeak, so I'm gonna do that for now. But anyway, I had to buy I think 6 or 7. I have like maybe 8 card packs for these teams. I've only played the Scouts and the Brood Brothers, but I have those dwarves now. I just ordered the. For the the Farst Riders, and then the Breachers. I'm really excited about the Breachers. So yeah, it may be less than I think, but like I just.
So you're just buying the cards. You're not buying the miniatures as well, right?
Well, I bought the Tau miniatures, and I bought the Brood Brother extra pack.
Did you get the Tau miniatures?
Yeah,
I want to look at them and compare them to your old one.
I did. They're mostly the same except for like 2 or 3 like alternate. They are because like I've built several kill teams. The Tau Pathfinder's one, the main sprue, it's just like the same exact torso and then the same legs. So it's this, the only thing that changed. They had like an extra sprue that had like alternate heads. And so there's like they've changed some pieces.
I'd have to look at it because
But I'm pretty sure I could have built a team based on those models I have. But I don't mind having another one because I get to build them with more knowledge in my head because I built those originally not knowing how to play.
I kind of wanted to buy, like I did buy the Exaction Squad miniatures, even though I've been buying rebuying every faction I have. Like, so for example, the Aldari and the Space Marines, I bought those miniatures even though I didn't need them, but I wanted the tokens in the box. Like, they come with tokens. I don't need those tokens, but I just want them because
the tokens are not worth $70 or whatever.
They were for me.
Well, no, I'm just saying in general because we haven't seen them yet, but I ordered those Etsy ones because I didn't want to buy a new box of Breachers or the kin Forest Riders. I keep calling them Kinband, but whatever they're called, the Crew,
the dwarves. Oh
no, the Crew. But yeah, I didn't want to buy new box tokens for the dwarves. So those 3 kill teams, I actually bought those like 3D printed acrylic or not. 3D printed. They're like acrylic ones. Can you 3D print acrylic? You can't.
Because laser cut.
Yeah, laser cut is what I'm thinking of. So laser cut. I'm curious to see how they come out, but they got good reviews. So anyway, yeah, that's what we've been purchasing.
I was saying that I rebought them, and it's like mainly for the tokens, but actually for the Exaction Squad, I kind of wanted to have extra miniatures because I wanted to build out a few different variants of. I haven't done this before in my other factions, but there were some of the cop variants, like the guys with shields and stuff like that, I think they're really cool, but I didn't build them on my first batch. And I also kind of want to replace the dog. You know, everyone wants a dog, and I don't really want the dog in my kill team. There's just so many other cool.
I want that rattling battle mutt. I think it's awesome.
It looks cool, but I don't think the functionality doesn't look that useful.
The warning thing, it's like
but for a whole slot though, if you can replace that with an Ogren, and I guarantee
a guy who cared about winning would, but I like the options because it has some cool options.
But yeah, he only has 4 wounds, so I was like, man, he's gonna die quick if somebody goes after the dog.
It's a good distraction. Yeah,
who's gonna shoot the dog?
Yeah, jerk.
Yeah, but I actually bought the miniatures because not only do I want the tokens, but I actually kind of want to, I want to have some extra miniatures to work with to, have some different build outs for my faction. So.
Yeah, and I think we were watching these these reviewers, these content creators who got copies of Brootal and Cunning early to review. We're going over the options for rattlings, and obviously you can take Ogrins. What are the big ones called?
There's Ogrins and Bulgrins.
Yeah, the Bulgrins. So like you'd have to buy, I think it was 2 boxes to be able to have those options. So you got to buy the Rattling Kill Team, which is enough to build all the Rattlings, obviously. But if you want to like make the most out of the army list, you'd have to have either the box of 3 Ogrins, but you'd probably want both, so you could have a mix of Bulgrins and Ogrins, and they don't have new ones. I mean, those aren't bad, the ones that exist, but
did you not buy that Darktide box?
I did. It's upstairs. Yeah.
You did buy it? Okay, well you have 2 Ogrins then.
Is it 2?
Well, I have one and you have one.
Yeah. Well, I don't want the same model though. I might just. It's like the same exact sculpt.
Oh my goodness,
that's not cool. But anyway, yeah, that's really exciting. It's gonna be a long 2-week wait, but I can maybe get some more.
It is a little strange where I know that Kill Team's not like. I mean, yeah, it's a balanced game for tournaments and stuff like that. But I think people play it more for like the narrative or whatever. But it is interesting how in the Rattling Kill Team, the faction loading, the choice list, you can pick up to 3 Ogrins. You have 11 operatives, and you can basically swap out a Rattling for an Ogren. It's pretty crazy to me where a Rattling is like 6 wounds and not very durable.
Yeah, but I think the thought is like the guy that was complaining about that, I think was maybe overlooking the insane positioning they have. So it's like they can have a lot of like deterrence to getting killed.
Deterrence.
It's the same thing. It's just a pronunciation.
No, but the trade off though is that if you don't have any Ogrins or Bulgrins, like you get some ploys for free.
Yeah, 0 cost ploys,
which is a trade off. But I don't know how it's interesting to me how that's balanced because Ogryns are like 16 or
I know,
16 wounds.
But what I was going to say is
they do some damage too.
Right, but it's not all about attrition all the time. Like, it's not about just like wiping the player off the board. Like, while you're focusing your efforts to take out either the big Ogryns or ignoring the Ogryns, then like you can have opportunity to score points.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing too, though, is that it's 11 operatives all the time. So like, even if you take Ogryns, you still have a full 11, which is a lot of operatives to work with. So,
are you saying that like that? I mean, you're talking about from a competitive standpoint that makes them more flexible or more powerful, or
I mean, if you're taking Ogryns, it seem more powerful. Like it seems like you're way more handicapped if you don't have any Ogryns in your faction.
I mean, I'd be curious to try, and I would try because I'm probably only going to play this kill team anyway. So I'm sure I'll play different variants of it, but I'd like the idea of having at least one Ogryn.
I'm not that concerned with balance. I just find it interesting that's the way it works.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know like how that came about, because they don't seem. I mean, they're weak, like they're squishy, but they don't. Even if you didn't have any Ogryns, if you just had those Ratlings, like I still think they'd be viable. Like not all the time, but like
I will say the Ogryns are a little bit weaker than like a Space Marine or something. They do have a lot of wounds and they're tough, but they have a rule called Brute or something where it takes them 2 APL to like pick up do mission objectives, things like that.
Do the
so they're not very useful about like securing objectives and things like that. But
and I think like. I don't know. Like I was fighting the Space Marines the other day with my scouts, and I thought I was getting my butt whooped, but we came out pretty even on.
Yeah, because you were rolling ridiculous saves. Like you were just getting so lucky on those saves.
My point being, though, it's like even though those guys were monsters, like it still felt like that wasn't the main.
That's what I love about Kill Team, though. Is the game's about doing objectives. It's not about like why there is the kill op where you're trying to kill people, but it's still even with that. It scales per if you're fighting Space Marines who only have 6 guys, you might get points faster than if I'm killing 11 guys. I have to kill way more guys to get those thresholds. So it's balanced and interesting that way. But yeah, there's lots of ways to get victory points in the game, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably save some of the discussion points for the episode where I actually have this in my hands, because I want to look through the book, because I like the idea of that joint operation, the pack in there that has the 3 missions. I want to play through that. I still want to play through, once I finish painting my sniper, I want to play through that sniper mission pack that's on the PDF, because
I will say though, I was watching, I think it was Guerrilla Miniatures Games go through the book or whatever, and showing some lore off and the missions, which has a mission pack which is pretty cool, like a bunker defense mission.
That's
pack.
The asymmetrical one. You mean like that? Yeah.
And you can play it PvP, and there's also rules for PvE, which is cool. Player versus environment.
Now, was that different than the 3 they teased? Is that pack the same one? Because I thought you were saying that like they had a mission that you played either way, and then they had the PvE 3 missions.
Well, from what I saw in the book, it was just a mission pack, and it says you can play it PvP or PvE. But the one thing that kind of bums me out about this new edition is that it's cool that they're supporting all these old kill teams, and they have all the they're re-releasing the miniatures with tokens and cards, which is awesome. Even though they're going to get phased out, which is kind of a bummer. Also,
the cards or
the kill teams are going to be retired after they said there's a 2-year cycle or something, and they'll be retired, and because they have to make room for new. We were talking about this when it was first.
I know, announced. But I guess I wasn't entirely clear. I thought it was just like the cards, like the
cards are 1 print run. That's it. But the kill teams themselves will be quote unquote official, and then they'll be retired into you can still play them obviously, but they're just not going to sell the miniatures anymore. They're going to make room for the next products.
So it would be like if we had to speculate, it'd be like, instead of having this Ratling sniper team, and if they still support Ratlings, it'd be like, here's a Ratling spies or something, some other
in 2 years they might, in 2 years or I think it's 3 years. I'm not sure what the cycle was, but they would say, okay, well, now we're not selling these miniatures anymore, and maybe there'll be a new kill team with a couple Ratlings in it in the future or something. Yeah. But anyway, what's kind of a bummer for me is the fact that they don't have a compendium or something that they sell a book with all the lore for these previous kill teams, because it's it's kind of cool just to read up, and they have strategy and stuff in that Brutal and Cunning book. It's like here's how to play this kill team. It'd be cool if they did that for all the old stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
I like the spreads where it's like not the actual like data cards, but it's like just like spreads of the picture of the model with like a little description of what that operative does. And it's weird, like I feel spoiled, so freaking spoiled. It just seems unreal that not only do they have this like kill team, but they're actually putting it in a box where I get that book. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have a book of Rattling lore. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like for example, the Exaction Squad. I didn't buy was it Soul Shackle? I think was the expansion that back in the last edition when they were introduced, and that book had lore about the Adeptus Arbites, which are like the cops. But I didn't get that, and then they just don't sell it anymore. So it's like, okay, I can go research it online, but it'd be kind of cool if they had books that a compendium of all the lore for all the existing factions.
Yeah, maybe they do that at the tail end before they retire things.
Well, they do like in the last edition they did a compendium of rules for factions, but it didn't have any lore in it, which sucked. It was just pure rules.
Yeah, it seems like I'm not an expert on how their product lines work, but because they have like 40K, they have the 40K rule book that has like all this lore. Then they also do the codexes. I feel like the Kill Team product line is probably pretty successful, where it could justify having like these kind of seasonal books, like here's a big heavy book that's like the rule book plus.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying too. It's like I'm all for like new kill teams, but what kind of bums me out thinking about them cycling kill teams out. It's like people have kill teams that they've kind of identified with, and like this is who I want to play, and they could just, especially with this new joint op stuff, they could just be releasing like kill zones and campaign books, and just keep the factions kind of like set. Let's have this set number of factions, and then just have products and content to play through.
Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe it'll change because maybe they didn't expect the support.
With the stockholder, the stock share of GW soaring, I think they think that whatever they're doing is working, so they probably just keep doing it.
We'll see. But yeah, it's been pretty stoked waiting for that kill team stuff, but it's still just wait a couple more weeks now that I actually bought it.
We did actually, since the last time we got a game in playing. I played my Phobos Marines against your
Scouts,
Space Marine Scouts, which is an interesting face-off. But it was actually much closer than I thought. Like the whole time, Brady was acting all bummed out because I was like destroyed. He felt like I was getting destroyed or whatever.
No, it's not the loss because I don't care about losing. It's because I just don't. I was like, I'm not liking that Scout Squad. Like I like the models, but like when I play them, I don't like their ploys, and they just don't have like. Each operative's kind of like I don't know. They don't do much for me.
I will say the Phobos Marines were not my play style. Like they're good, but the whole time I was like, man, I want to try those cops out. Like I just want to play something more.
Yeah, my mind was preoccupied with like, man, I wish I had painted my Brood Brothers because like there's a lot more models for the Brood Brothers to paint. I'm doing like a kind of a assembly line style where I'm just painting sections, but it's just taking me a long time and I haven't been as motivated when I was with the Scouts. But having the Scouts done is a relief. Now I have the Scouts done, I have the Breachers done, so I have 2 full painted kill teams. And once I get the Breacher cards in a couple weeks, then I'll be ready to play with 2 full teams.
Now that I have, since I bought the Vulcus kill zone, I definitely want to paint that as soon as I get it. But I was considering, now that I have this new Two Thin Coats paint line from Duncan Rhodes Academy, like since they're the dropper bottle, I could probably finally get around to trying out an airbrush, like maybe get an airbrush.
You can paint mine
to like paint some terrain faster. I don't know. I don't have any experience with airbrushes, so I have to do some research, or maybe anybody listening might have suggestions about good airbrushes to like start with. Feel free to drop it in the Discord or whatever. But I might ask for that for Christmas or something from the wife and say, hey, here's a Christmas idea. Give me an airbrush and I'll test it out. But I definitely want to paint that terrain fast.
Unless you had other kill team rants, I was going to mention some other board game stuff.
No, I'm good.
I think I want to mention it's kind of, I think the way that GameFound does it, people can still like late pledge pretty easily, but I want to do another shout out because it's been a while since the game has captured my mind so much as this Lands of Evershade, which we've talked about I think on the previous episode, but I ended off like $7.5 million or something on the final tally. Had a ton of stretch goals, a really cool looking game, so I'm stoked about that.
Well, I think the pledge manager goes live in like a couple months, so even if they can't late pledge now, February or whatever.
Yeah, keep an eye on that because it looks really cool. And then because GameFound just released their like app now, so I mean the app functions a lot like the website. Obviously, it's a lot more, the updates are easier to check and everything. But when I installed that app, I saw a game that I remembered seeing a while ago called Grim Coven, which is a boss battler. And because you might have remember last episode, we were talking about the game that Adam and I were kind of tinkering around with, was this idea for the Malice of Light to be like this adventure game / boss battler. And when I was looking at this Grim Coven game, it's like, wow, this has some of those elements in there. And even though it won't deliver until like, September next year, I was like, I backed it on a whim because I'm an idiot. So it was a good deal on it.
Was it late? You late pledged, or was it still going on?
No, it was a late pledge. Yeah,
because I thought that was an old.
Yeah, it was an old one. Because I was on the fence before, but like you, and I don't know if anyone else listening has this problem, but Adam and I both have this problem apparently, where if you see a game, we're super into theme stuff. So it's like if the theme captures is great, but if there's no characters that we really want to play as, like I could identify with, it's really hard to like be excited about. And I had that problem with Grim Coven, where the theme was not really my style, but I could have lived with it. But none of the characters appealed to me, but I still backed it because I'm an idiot. Because I'm a sucker.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting into it. Like, I think that's why I ended up back in that Evershade game right away, is because I was looking at it, it's like, oh, I can play as a paladin. I'm getting that. Cause
yeah, it's that everything about that campaign was just, every time they did a new thing, it hooked me even more, and they just really.
It's funny. It's funny too, because I mentioned it to a friend of ours who doesn't really back board games or whatever. And it was the last day of the campaign. I'm like, hey, this looks really awesome. He's like, oh, why is that? And I said, it's like, kind of blends RPGs and board games really well. And he, like 5 minutes later, like, yeah, I talked to my wife and I already backed it. So he just backed it randomly because he thought it looked cool too. So.
Yeah, we should get a little commission from Awakened Realms, or they can at least publish one of our games for us.
They don't do they do everything internally, I think.
Yeah. And also in crowdfunding news, last week was pretty exciting because another game we've been waiting on for a while, which is actually staying on schedule more than most crowdfunded games, but it's called Iridia.
What? It was supposed to be like in February this year.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, originally. I mean, yeah, but even then, like a year late, it's still pretty decent.
I mean, it's on schedule since the delay.
Yeah. But it's Iridia, Arydia. It's another big fantasy adventure game, but it's actually starting to deliver some places. But the ship that has our copies just is moored into the west coast right now, so I don't know how long it's going to take from there. I think the update said it's supposed to be shipping like around Christmas Eve, so maybe early next year we'll get it. That'll be exciting though, because I need more. I've been like craving some like campaign games to start.
Yeah, we had a Shadows of Brimstone campaign with our wives a while ago, and I liked just having, it's like every Saturday or something, we just meet up in the afternoon and just play through a dungeon. It's like I like having those campaign days where you just play a game regularly, but we don't do it very much anymore.
And also I feel like I just want to like do news stuff, because there was a new another game found campaign for one of my favorite games, Cthulhu Death May Die, which is, I forget the name of it now, Forbidden Reaches. I don't know what the name is, but it's like a standalone expansion. So if anybody doesn't have the core game, they can just buy this. But usually most people just buy everything.
They also sell everything from the first two Kickstarters. Is like $1,000.
It's such a cool game.
It's really good that you have the game, because I would be tempted to back it all again, because I actually really enjoy the game, and I know you don't really paint the miniatures, but those miniatures are like would be very nice painted.
It's weird because I like the theme just enough. I just don't love how it's like that Zombicide thing where it's like, hey, let's make some knockoff characters that are kind of like pop culture references. I want a game that's like that, with that gameplay that just has like a theme that's like really, I mean, not too serious, but just
that
like
Frasier miniature is pretty silly.
Yeah. There's some things I like that. Like it's great.
But he's holding a microphone. I'm reporting.
It's an old phone, isn't it? Like it's an old like rotary phone, right?
I thought it was a radio microphone.
When I saw it, I thought it was one of those old phones you like have the hand.
No, it's like one of those old news radio microphones where he's like reporting the news.
Just double check that, because I was pretty sure when I looked at it, I did a second take on it. It looked like one of those old phones people pick up and they have like the mouthpiece there and then like the little ear cup. But anyway, yeah, like a great game. I just wish it was like a cohesive theme. And also, as much as I love Cthulhu stuff, I really don't like their take on the monsters, like the monster art and the monster sculpts, because those monsters are just not very.
Yeah, that's one of those microphones.
Okay, yeah. When I first saw it, I thought it was the phone. But yeah, anyway, that's a cool looking game. Check it out.
Anyway, what I was going to say was I got interrupted, but I remember when we had Manchester Madness Second Edition. When I got that, I started painting the whole core set. But then I got really frustrated because the way the monsters were on those stupid bases. It's like I didn't want to bother painting those.
On this copy, I actually have those clear. I did what those people do. They just like tear those bases off, put the little clear plastic bases on.
I should have done that because there's no reason to use those bases. Yeah. They were just there because they used them for the other game.
For Arkham, yeah. Which in Arkham Horror, they were more cumbersome too because they had to like keep socketing in those tokens.
But not only that was like that game just wasn't a game that we wanted to replay. So painting it was kind of a waste. But that Cthulhu Death May Die is every time I played it's fun. So.
Yeah, I've played the same because it's got like. I think the first season had like 20 episodes or something, and I've played the same like 2 or 3 just because I like the themes of them. Like I can just play them over and over again because they're just cool little romps, you know.
I will say though that there's like 50 some investigators to play as, but I only play as 2 of them.
Yeah, I need to start doing just like random draws because I never play as some of them. There's just way too many. But it's one of those games where like every investigator is literally just like they have like one ability. They just combine those other common abilities and they have one ability that's unique to them. So it's,
if you aren't familiar with the game, there's a cool way it works with madness in the game where the more madness you accumulate, like the more abilities you unlock because your character is getting more and more like desperate and pushed to the edge. But if you go fully insane, you're dead. So it's like you want to get as insane as possible. To get as many unlocked abilities as you can, but then that's it. You don't want to go any more crazy than that.
Yeah, I like how the campaign in this new one works, where you play like 3 acts, so 3 different games, but each time you like complete one, you can like upgrade a skill, and that always bothered me when you play the regular game. You can never even max out a skill. It's like you can get each skill. I think you can get like if you go all in one skill, you can maybe get to the second to the last one. Or the last one, but if you ever like do multiples, you'll never finish one of the tracks. So it'll be cool in the campaign.
Yeah, I never really thought about that when we played. I was always spreading stuff out. Like, wait a minute, I'm not going to unlock any of this stuff.
Yeah. So that is that's board gaming, tabletop stuff. But we've been playing a couple new games. I think the biggest one we've played, or the one we've played the most of, is that Raven's Watch game we just picked up, which is very inspiring for me, like from a design standpoint, because like talking about this Malice Light boss battler game we wanted to do, and it has like a roguelite kind of like upgrading system. This Raven's Watch game that we when did we get that, last week? Recently.
Yeah, it was not that long.
We've only had it for a few days ago. But it's got, the way I describe this, it's like an action RPG in the same vein as like a Diablo game, but it has a lot of like MOBA.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it an action RPG. I would say it's got the same like isometric view as Diablo or whatever, but it definitely has more of a MOBA feel.
But it does feel like an action RPG in the sense that like you're going around questing, you have abilities you can upgrade, and like it has the elements of enough. I think it has equal parts of action RPGs and MOBAs, which just makes it really cool to me.
I don't think so. I think it's
what's missing though from an action RPG standpoint.
Leveling up in gear and stuff like that, because MOBAs are like you're leveling up your character, like you're unlocking new skills, but they're random. Like you choose random skills. So I mean,
I guess it's more roguelike.
It's got a taste of RPG-ishness, but it's really like it's a MOBA. It's a co-op roguelike MOBA. That's what I would call it, because it's an open world. You go into this map, and it's a random map, and it has quests and resources and stuff like that around the map. So you have a time limit before the boss starts. I think it's like they call it 4 days and nights. Or 3 days and nights. I'm not sure.
I think it was 3.
It's like 15 minutes. So you're around on the map for 15 minutes, doing as much as you can before the boss fight. Then you fight the boss, and you go to the next act. There's 3 acts in a run. So like one run is like 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how long the boss fights are. And if you get to the end, you can unlock the next difficulty. Now the game is really cool. It's like you play as storybook characters, like a twist on storybook characters. So there's like Red Riding Hood, Aladdin.
And the twists being like Red Riding Hood is a lycanthrope, so she turns into a werewolf every night, which is cool because it's built into the system of the game where you have the day-night cycle. But for this character Scarlet, she's like a rogue with 2 daggers, and she can dash around and stuff. And then night hits, she turns into a big werewolf, and then she's got more brutal attacks. which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah, and there's Beowulf, the Snow Queen, Geppetto.
Geppetto's awesome. He's my main guy.
And yeah, it's it's really fun. Like every character plays totally differently, and they have their own like skills to upgrade and stuff. But I enjoy playing it every time I play it. But my only problem is with the game is it seems pretty lacking on content. Because really all it is like you once you play all the heroes, you find the one you like, and you just play through this 3-act map thing, which is always the same. I mean, it's randomly like laid out, but the bosses are always the same. And
it doesn't need content. It's like, I mean, I say that, but all day I've been craving. I've been wanting to play it again. We just beat a run yesterday, I think, when we were playing, and I've already been craving to play again today. I'm just trying to finish my word count before I start playing games. But it's like I understand that aspect, but at the same time, it has some built-in systems that makes it you want to experience it again. I think mainly the one that I think of is exploration, because you have this map that's all the same elements, but like it's like Fog of War. So you have to go out and explore and find waypoints. You can fast travel between waypoints as you find them. So it makes it so like the exploration is always engaging, but also like the way you level up, because it's got that roguelike feel where it just gives you random choices. Like here's 2 choices you can have between powers. Which one do you want to take? So you don't have full control about how you build your character. It's more just luck of the draw. But that makes it feel like a board game to me, and that's kind of what I want to go for. Like for the Malice Light game, is having that you have random choices, so you don't have the full complement of what you could upgrade with, but you got to make do with your whatever hand of cards you have. So I'm pretty excited about those ideas translating to tabletop, and that's what got me excited about the game and why I want to keep playing it. But I do wish that this was a League of Legends game, like Riot Games made League of Legends characters and made them into this game, because all I want is a ton of heroes to unlock.
Riot Games, go ahead and just make a version of Raven's Watch in your own world.
It would be awesome.
I will say though, even though with my complaint of lack of content, the game is very fun to play. It's only $30, so it's not like a big AAA cost game, but it plays very well. The combat's very fun, fluid, and like I said, every hero plays differently, so it's like you try out all these different strategies. Like, for example, Aladdin is all built around throwing a sword around and catching it in different ways and, like, triggering all these abilities and stuff. It's just really fun, really fun combat. I would recommend it if you're into that kind of stuff. But they said they have a roadmap for 2025, so there's new stuff coming. I think more maps and things, which I think the game really needs. So that would be my only thing, is it's just a really fun game, but very short on content.
Yeah, I think characters are a big thing for me, because even if you have the same maps, like I had a lot of fun unlocking those characters, but you only had like 4 to unlock initially. So I think they need to have more of that. Just more.
I don't even care that much about maps, but they should have more bosses. The bosses, it should be like at least 12 bosses to cycle between.
And it's funny because they have those 3 main bosses, but then we notice those like side quests where you have those other boss fights. And those are cool, but it's like those need to be main bosses. Like you need to have more main bosses that are like varied.
Yeah, it's just content. That's all it comes down to. It's just the game needs more content.
Yeah, Raven's Watch, very cool though. I look forward to seeing what they do with more, and I hope to see more games like that borrow those kind of elements, because I love that combination.
We should probably mention we play this on Xbox, but it is cross-platform. We played with our buddy Scott. He was playing on PC.
Yep. So. And then we also played that new Marvel Rivals game that dropped, which was a third-person 6v6 shooter, which is like kind of like Overwatch.
It is better. It is basically a third-person Marvel Overwatch.
Yeah, which is better because it's third person. I don't love any of the characters yet. They seem fun. I just don't have any that I connect with yet. I tried Rocket, tried Loki, tried Bruce Banner / Hulk, and I tried Winter Soldier, who's probably my favorite so far, Winter Soldier. But I just sucked at the game. We only played a couple matches, and I was awful.
Yeah, I played this in beta a few months ago, and I really liked it. But when I was playing in beta, there was only like 6 heroes to choose from. I was playing the Punisher, which I had fun with. I thought the game was really smooth and fun, but it is just a arena battler. Like it's fun. The gameplay is extremely smooth. They've added they have 33 heroes now, and they have some cool ones for me. Even though Brady doesn't like many, I played Hawkeye, Star-Lord, Punisher, Captain America, which was surprisingly fun. But I would say Hawkeye so far is the most fun. Definitely takes some skill though with his sniper shot stuff. But it is very fun. It's free to play. Tons of heroes to play as. So I would definitely recommend it if you're into PvP games. It's very fun, and again, I think it's cross-platform. So we played on Xbox.
Yeah, I was in a bad headspace for it because I just been craving like MMOs. Like I just really want an MMO. So every time I play a game where the gameplay is fun, I'm like, this would be great if this was like a adventure game or something where I could keep playing.
This Marvel Rivals game would be amazing if they added a story mode to it because the combat's really fun. Like I couldn't imagine playing that style of game. One important part of the game I should mention is they have these thing called team up abilities. So if you're playing as the right combination of heroes, you can unlock different like functionality. Like for example, if I'm playing as Rocket and Brady's playing as Groot, Rocket can like ride on Groot's shoulder and do bonus damage.
Groot
stuff
in
like
that
that.
game? I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, he's a support type character.
Yeah, it looks neat, and I'm sure it'll do well because Overwatch did amazing, and I think people want I think the support for Overwatch wasn't good or something. People had some problems with it. So
I don't know. I didn't like Overwatch that much as first person, so it's not really my thing. But
yeah. I thought there was another.
There was for me.
Path of Exile, is that what you're thinking of? Or?
Thanks for ruining it. Spoiler alert.
I'll edit that.
There was a Path of Exile 2 early access started on Friday. I think it was Friday. And it's this game that's coming out. It's an action RPG. If you're not familiar with Path of Exile, it was made to be like a spiritual successor to Diablo 2. It was very much inspired by the Diablo 2 style of action RPG. But Path of Exile has been...
Is it like developers that originally worked on Diablo? Or
no, it's actually the two guys who started Path of Exile were just huge fans of Diablo.
Okay.
They played Diablo 2 in high school together all the time, and they decided to make their own game. And quite a success story because Path of Exile has been heavily supported for like over a decade now. And it's still like one of the most popular action RPGs out there. It's got a reputation of being extremely like complex and difficult. Because there's a lot of stuff to learn, a lot of systems in the game. There's just lots of stuff to do. So everybody was really hyping up this Path of Exile 2 launch. I think there was the Grinding Gear Games said there was like over 1 million people that bought the early access, which is crazy because this game when it comes out is going to be a free to play game. Like it's going to come out next year sometime, free to play, 12 classes, each one having 3 ascendancies, so like basically 36 different combinations of character you can play, but it's gonna be free to play. If you wanted early access, I think you can still do it now, but you have to pay like at least $30 to buy like a in-game currency bundle because they have an in-game shop.
Is that just done through the Microsoft Store, or do you have to like do it on their like account page or something?
No, if you go to Xbox Microsoft Store, you can just buy it's called a Founders Bundle.
I don't think I'm going to, just because I didn't love what I've seen, and like there's no huge class pulling me, and Diablo 4 has the Rogue, which I don't think anybody can really beat right now. So
yeah, it is definitely different than Diablo 4. It's more I would say a little slower paced, way less gear. It's more I feel more crunchy. It's definitely darker. It's real. Like I've only played for a couple hours, but what I've played so far has been very fun. I'm playing the mercenary, and like he has all these abilities that like load up different ammo in his crossbow. So like he can have like these frost shots or like regular shots or like an like a machine gun style shot, throwing grenades and stuff. He's really like a first person shooter style character, but he's really fun. That's the only class I've played so far, but the inventory management is very much like Diablo 2, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's fine.
So do you have to manually move everything around? And
yeah, I mean it puts stuff in your inventory normally, but if you want to rearrange, you have to like individually move stuff, and it's just Diablo 4 does auto sort, which is nice. They also have like identify scrolls, which when you find stuff, sometimes you have to identify it, which I just find to be tedious and kind of pointless, but that's what they like. The one interesting thing
is that all that adds is like anticipation or whatever, but it's like, isn't that what the drop itself is for? Or like,
especially when I don't know. I don't know what the point of it is. It just feels like an extra step. The one thing that they improved since the first game, though, in the first game, all your gear had sockets in it, and you had to socket the right color of gem into these gear to unlock your abilities. So like abilities are kind of tied to your gear. They've separated that now, and now these things called skill gems drop from enemies, and they're uncut skill gems. And when you get them, you can basically take that skill gem and then learn a new skill. So skills aren't really tied to your level; they're just things you find, and you can like kind of make your own skills. and there's tons of skills in the game. They're all tied to different weapon types. So like, for example, I have like all these crossbow skills. I just like I get a skill gem. I can unlock this new skill and put it in my skill bar and start using it. So it's a very fun game. Anybody who's into action RPGs should check it out. The servers have been getting hit like crazy this weekend because of early access. The hype is off the charts. People are just crazy about this game. But it's cool. Definitely one to watch if you're into action RPGs.
So did the what was it called? Last Epoch? Did that like kind of fall off the radar? Or?
Yeah, which I haven't heard much about it, but I haven't been watching it as much. It's only on PC. If it was on Xbox, I would be interested in it.
Yeah, I forgot.
Because I actually really like the game. Like it has Last Epoch is some of the best like skill focused progression I've ever seen in an action RPG. Like you can basically take any skill you want, and every skill has its own skill tree. So you can modify that skill to do exactly what you want it to do and like focus your entire build around that skill. It's really cool. It's like the most customization I've ever seen. And you can play as a paladin, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I like the Falconer class. I think we only played briefly, but I don't think the Falconer was in there yet, or if it wasn't like ready, or I forget.
I don't think it was because it was early access when we played it. I did buy the game, so I haven't played it in a while. But again, it's because it's on PC. If it was on Xbox, I would be playing it probably regularly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've been playing is Grimwatch, or what is it? Raven's Watch. Yeah, Raven's Watch. I was thinking of Grim Coven, and then that Diablo 4. I finally got a mythic Andariel's Visage in Diablo 4, so that was exciting. But I feel like my season's done now. So
yeah, I've finished that season weeks ago. I haven't really felt the need to go back. I have been finishing up Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah. I've been playing that like way too much. That game just sucked me in. I've been focusing on unlocking all the secret jobs and stuff, but I finished up half of the characters' final chapters. And I know in this game, there's 8 characters in the game, and each one has like their own storyline. And once you finish all their storylines, you do like this overall storyline finish thing. So it's a pretty long game, but I think I'm almost done with it. But it's I would recommend it for anybody who's a fan of old Final Fantasy games. It's awesome.
Cool. Well, I think it's the video game world. We're still just waiting on State of Decay 3. So
I could go for that right now.
Yes, I'm really craving it. But we'll move on to our listener questions.
So we have any?
Yeah, so we have one listener question. Where is the best place to find or buy Brady's books?
I have a feeling that's not actually a listener question.
Well, thanks for the question there. What's that name? Brody? Brody. Thanks for asking that, Brody.
Brody Jade.
You can find my books on Amazon and anywhere else. If you go to a bookstore and say, hey, I want this book, they'll look it up on Ingram Spark and order it. So Christmas is coming.
You wrote a book?
I wrote 4 books. I'm writing my 5th book right now. It'll be done early next year. So you got to read Relic Myers and the Rhythms of Ruin if you want to read Relic Myers and the Harmony of Hexes, which comes out Q1 of 2025. If you follow my socials, you'll see a tease of the cover art that Evan Simonette is doing. And I told him I would buy him a flag of that art if he gets it to me in a reasonable amount of time. So he said he's going to try to finish it for Christmas, which is cool. I'm excited. But yeah, that's our only listener question. Send them in our Discord if you want to. jointoperationspodcast.com. And then we will talk about what we've been watching, which is not Secret Level. Is that out yet?
No. Okay. I was going to watch it if you sent that review, but I think it's December 10th or something. So like next week sometime.
Well, I've been watching the Jean Benet documentary on Netflix.
Fascinating. Christmas cheer.
Which is not super exciting because I think I've known all about these facts of this case. It's a very bizarre case, but it's only a 3-episode little documentary. Not bad, just not very revolutionary or anything. So I wouldn't say go watch it, but it was entertaining, I guess.
Documentary.
What did I say?
No, I'm thinking of a new term for a small documentary, like
documentary
series. Documentary series.
I mean, a documentary could be just a movie. So.
Anyway, I finished up. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but I finished The Walking Dead finally.
I don't think you did.
I finished that, and then I immediately went into the Daryl Dixon spinoff, which I didn't know what I would think of it. But man, I got hooked right away. Like I really liked it. It was good. It was only the 6 episodes for the first season, so I'm waiting for the next season to hit. But
Weird side note: did you know that Norman Reedus had a book that just came out? Like he wrote a novel.
no,
It's weird. I didn't know he was going to be an author, but it's his first,
Weird.
his debut novel.
everybody writes books,
Yeah,
man.
everyone can write a book.
Then I decided to go ahead and keep it going, and then watch Fear the Walking Dead, because I remember watching the first season when that first came out, but I never really watched past that.
I think we watched season 2. Like
No, I never. I'm into season 2 now, and I've never seen any of this stuff, so like it's all new to me.
all the boat stuff.
The
Okay.
boat stuff.
I must have
I've
watched
just-
it alone.
But I'm watching that. Hopefully, I can finish that this month or before. I think in January that Rick show is going to be on Netflix, and so I want to watch that. So I want to.
And you're just completely bypassing City of the Dead, right? Or the Dead
If
City, whatever.
if it's on Netflix, I'll watch it. But if it's about Megan and
Molly,
Negan and Maggie, like I'll watch it, but I am not excited about watching that. Like Negan's fine, but like Maggie,
I don't know. Like I don't know if I love how they handled Negan in the show. Like I mean, initially, the actor's great, but I just don't know if I really buy into the character arc at all. You know, it's just whatever. I didn't think much of it.
There was a character, a very short character arc in Daryl Dixon, the show, that I'll be interested to see what your opinion is, because it made no sense to me.
of Daryl Dixon.
No,
or
just
some other character?
some other character in the show. It's only 6 episodes, so it's like very short time frame, but the sudden turnaround is crazy.
All the seasons are 6 episodes for that Daryl show.
I don't know. I think just maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was more than 6. I don't remember.
Because I think The Walking Dead in season 1 was 6, then every single other season was like, 20 episodes or something? Or
Yeah, it was only 6 episodes, and it looks like season 2 was only 6 episodes as well.
that's reasonable. I kind of prefer that these days. I'm just don't get much TV.
I didn't realize that second episode actually just ended in November this year.
It's like a season.
What'd I say?
Episode.
Second season.
That's a long episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been also watching. I think we talked about it before. I've been watching Frasier, which because that it was funny because I started watching it with Sarah, and like 2 days later I saw that character on Death May Die. It's pretty weird timing. Fun show, really enjoying that. And then we also were watching. What was the other show we watched? The Only Murders in the Building. I finally finished that season because we were like late.
Yeah, I had to force myself to finish that season.
Yeah, I wasn't loving it. Like, it's still a good show, but like I don't think that ending was very great. It was kind of just out of left field.
Honestly, that show it could have been done off for season 1. I'd been fine. Like,
Yeah,
it was like a 1 season thing because it was great. Like it was original and cool. And
I think they handle it well, but I just don't think that I don't think they need any of it. It's like it's great, but it's.
It sucks because the chemistry between like Martin Short and Steve Martin is great. Like they're always great together, and I have like no complaints about it. But I just for some reason I just don't want to watch the same. I don't want to watch the story. Like I don't care.
Yeah, because they're kind of just like recreating a lot of the same interactions in different ways, and it's done well. But it's like season 1 had magic. I think it's hard to recapture. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been. And no movies though, right? I've been watching movies lately. Can't think of the last
watched
movie I've
Die
seen.
Hard and some other stuff, some random movies Amelia wanted to watch. But
I forget if I mentioned that I've been watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia with my daughter, which is probably not the best show to watch with her, but she's enjoying it. So it's something to do.
You sat through the first season with her?
Yeah, I warned her. Like I said, this is not good, but she giggled on a few parts, and I think she understood that it gets better. But she really likes Charlie's evolution from season 1 to 2 because like that episode where he's like explaining how to make a grilled Charlie. She's on one side, butter on the other side, peanut butter on that side.
Wait till he goes through the science. What do you call it? That
the test thing.
Yeah. What is that term I'm thinking of? Where you like sign up for something for like
it's like a research
test or
yeah. I don't remember the term, whatever. But the part I wanted her to see is when Frank's shooting the gun in the apartment. And she just introduced or saw the episode where they introduced Rickety Cricket. So I was like, yeah, watch this. Every season he shows up, it's better and better.
It just keeps coming up, man.
So I think that's all we got this time. We cut it short. It's a little shorter than normal. Coming up on 55 minutes, which is
that's
not
not
bad.
short.
I usually aim for an hour. An hour's a sweet spot, but Maybe we'll just play the theme song.
We'll just loop the theme song, the outro.
Yep. So So your task is before. I mean, we have another episode before Christmas probably, but you better order your Brady J. Sadler books so you can get it before Christmas, and tell your friends to buy them. Just infect the world with it, because I want to make sure my next book release is actually a big hit, because I've been dealing with kind of just like low key book releases. Oh, I should mention too, this coming release is going to be the first time I'll have a book publicist to build a marketing plan for it. So like I'm actually scheduling.
That mean you can stop talking about it if someone else is going to talk about it for you?
Her marketing plan might be, go talk about it more on these places instead. So maybe not my podcast anymore. I don't know. But if like I always say, if I can get like enough, foundation for like an audience, I can stop marketing myself, because it's exhausting and I hate talking about it. But hey, I think the books deserve it because they're amazing, and I'm annoyed that I just can't like convince people how good they are. So other people have to do it for me. Can't trust what's that word that's saying?
Horse's mouth.
Horse's mouth. Murr. Is that a horse? All right, we'll head out, and we'll see you a little before Christmas, hopefully.
See you later.